Alright, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to the Cutlass Board Games channel. And I have something special for you Clocktower enjoyers out there. I fucked up a game real bad. Real bad. But, rather than uploading the game letting you see it happen all in real time, I've created this slideshow. We're going to run through everything and exactly what happened, what went wrong, and what should have been done to rectify the situation. This is going to be a real-time learning experience for all of us. Now, this was a sex and violence game, ran on our kind of beginner night, but this was all just regulars. So I still kind of wanted to do, the base script, but like do some more interesting stuff. And the plan was to have the Vortox with not a huge number of information or characters right away, so that determining the Vortox would not be something instant. Things like Dreamer, artists that could potentially be good Vortox detectors, and instead relying on stuff like the Flower Girl and the Town Crier and the Savant to be the good Vortox detectors. So this was the starting setup. This is before any reminder tokens have been added. The bag has just been released. Now I have an evil twin that I need to place. I don't really want to do it as the Savant because that's a bit harder for the evil twin to keep up with. It means I have to talk to two people and give them information every day. I don't like the Juggler so much. I really don't want to do the Snake Charmer because that kind of always ends poorly. Town Crier also could have been a fine choice, but I don't like bullying Leanne too much. I probably already bully Leanne too much. Philosopher, same, just, gives opportunity to just have a Snake Charmer. And the Sage is really unlikely that the good twin is ever going to die to the demon. So I picked the Flower Girl. I feel like the Flower Girl is the best choice. The evil twin, bluffing as the Flower Girl, knows exactly who the demon is and whether or not that they're voting. And so that they have the ability to potentially just give the opposite information, but like consistently, to the actual Flower Girl. And so I thought that was going to be interesting, especially considering it's a Vortox game. Now, the way I handle the twins is I work them both up. I wake them both up at the same time. This is how you normally do it in person. You wake them both up, let them see each other, and then you show the tokens, right? So the good player gets to see the evil twin token, and the evil twin gets to see the good player's token for them to bluff as. I wake them both up, and Scott, our blank camera player, Scott goes, fuck, this is exactly what's happening. Can we be chill? Can we try and turn me evil? And Weedy agrees. He goes, we'll keep it secret and we'll try and turn you evil. That's kind of the goal. Now, after this, on the first day, we have the Philosopher. Let's go back a page. We have this Philosopher over here on the bottom, turned into the Seamstress, activated as the Seamstress, and selected Scott and Leanne. Both are on the good team. So you should get a yes, they're on the same team. However, it's a Vortox, so you get a no, they're not on the same team. And then, after this, on the first day, Josh volunteers to die. Scott is one that nominates. Josh, I think maybe this is perhaps incorrect. I believe Josh nominated himself. I don't know why I have Scott doing that in the screenshot. In either case, nominates himself, and this is the mental snapshot of the votes that I take when counting for the Flower Girl. This is a lot of hands up, and Justin, our Vortox, has his hand up. And we'll come back to this later. This is the nature of the mistake upcoming. But there's one other problem here. First of all, this is late at night. This is game 3. Second game I've run, third game of the night. I'm tired. I've been up all day doing work stuff. I'm not at full power, let's say. And so I make this other kind of fumble that's easily rectified, where the Savant comes and talks to me and says, hey, can I get Savant information? I'm like, I hadn't really prepared anything yet. Give me a minute and come back. And then the timer for the day expires. We start nominations and stuff. And Amelia messages me and says, hey, can I just get my info via text? I've already been seen talking to you. It's not really a big deal. I'm like, yeah, that's totally fine. And so I'm tabbed writing out what the Savant information should be in the other tab so I can copy and paste it to Amelia. And I'm like, well, actually, the longer I take doing this, I could give Savant information that's actually really relevant to the nomination execution sequence so that it could double as like a Town Crier. So I end up giving Amelia one half of the information that doubles as potentially Town Crier info, which is pretty helpful. Now, here's a test for you, YouTube viewers. Do you remember who voted when I had the screen up before? I've only detracted you for about 30 seconds, but can you remember all of the people that voted? Probably not. You weren't expecting a test, and neither was I, because here's what actually happened. Justin, a player who I thought was going to vote, put his hand down at the very last second, and me running the game goes, what, there was just enough votes to execute. I don't really specifically care. I've already taken note that he has, but I don't particularly need to rely on that most of the time, because there is a utility in the game for that. There is a utility that will tell you all the nominators and all the voters during the night phase, during the day, whenever you need it, whenever you need to know. And so after Josh is executed, we go to the night phase, and it's time to give the flower girl their first piece of information. Except the utility that tells me who nominated and where the votes was is gone. It's not there. There's a bug. It's missing from the game client. And so I go, well, I'm pretty confident Justin voted. So I'm going to give that information that no, the demon didn't vote because it's a Vortox game. And here's where it all falls apart, obviously. But we'll get into how it compounds and gets worse in a second. But like I said, there's a bug here. The thing was missing. I go, oh, I can't double check, but I'm pretty confident he voted anyway because I remember seeing his hand up during the voting phase because there's exactly one nomination, and that was kind of everything. And here's the proof. I actually went and took a screenshot at the end of the game because it came back. The button came back, and day 1 is missing. We only have day 2 and day 3, despite there being a nomination. And so I have no idea what to do. Looking back on it, I had no information to go from. I didn't know I had to go with my gut. I had to make a read, do my best. And then something else horrible happens after that. The Vortox kills the Sage on the same night that the Flower Girl gets that exact information. And I pick Scott and Rick to be the ones shown by the Sage because I can't show the actual demon because it's a Vortox game. So I have to pick 2 people as not. And I pick Scott and Rick because they are not the demon, but could have become the demon later. Firstly, Rick was originally the Snake Charmer, and so that he could have potentially Snake Charmed the demon, so that makes him a good choice if he had actually told anyone that he was the Snake Charmer. And then Scott the Flower Girl, because he had talked to the evil team with the intention of becoming the demon later, in turning into an outsider and then being Fangu jumped to, showing him now is going to be interesting for later on. However, the Sage goes, well, I'm pretty confident it's a Vortox game because of these other pieces of information. These people cannot be the demon. And which lines up with another little piece of information. And the thing that makes them help confirm potentially that it's a Vortox is that the Towncrier and Savant, like I said before, both got a piece of information that said that the only nomination on day 1, the Seamstress, had to be evil. The Towncrier, kind of specified, and the Savant basically got like a no evil players nominated or something like that, to potentially frame. And so they're like, okay, well, we have to believe it's a Vortox. I think it was an evil player nominated. Anyway, they had to believe it was a Vortox, and so they trusted that Josh was good. His information could be reversed, and then the Sage vouched for 2 players, and it slowly starts to unravel from here. Now, after that night, the Pit Hag turns the Flower Girl into the Klutz to prepare for a Fangu jump the following night. And when I talk to Charles, our Pit Hag, he goes, hang on a minute, turning them into the Klutz stops them being the good twin? I'm like, no, they're still the good twin. He's like, well, why am I trying to set them up to become the demon? Can't we just kill them and we'll win the game? I'm like, yes. That's still always the case. But he's like, no, it's more fun. It's more fun if we do the funky play. I'm like, whatever, it's fine, right? But with the good team solving for the Savant information, who had just died at night, solving for the Towncrier information, and the Sage, that meant that there was exactly a finite number of players who could have been on the evil team. And Amelia at one point actually guesses exactly the 3 players that are the evil team. And what happens is Justin the Vortox gets put on the block with 3 votes, exactly 3 votes. And so the good team kind of figures out it's exactly a Vortox, and they put it together and they nominate him. Well, and then what? Well, Scott gets nominated by Rick. Scott gets nominated by Rick, and this is where it all falls apart. He goes, okay, don't execute me, I'm the flower girl. On the second night, I got a no, the demon did not vote. Which means, in a Vortox world, the demon had to be one of the voters. Now I've marked on the screen exactly who actually voted. And Scott actually says out loud who all of these people are. Rick, Scott, Amelia, Rollo, and Josh at the bottom here. And Rollo goes, well, that's impossible. It's impossible to fit with the Vortox information because as the sage, I saw you and Rick, and that can't align. Like, Rick has to specifically be the demon here, and it didn't fit together. It kind of clashed with everything because it meant that the Vortox, and they can't place an Adachi. I was really confident it was a Vortox, and Scott's information clashed with everyone. And Scott, seeing this happen, goes, well, actually, I'm the good twin. You shouldn't execute me. Which obviously no one believes. And it just makes them double down harder on this. And so, the nomination goes through. Now, you can see Amelia is in the tank here. But Leanne puts her hand up because she's confident Scott's evil. Justin voting, obviously, because he wants to get off the block. And Amelia goes, well, I don't want to waste Leanne's dead vote. It's already been spent. We should go for this. And then Charles puts his hand up as well. And they lift onto Scott using 2 good dead votes. Now, Scott's stuck in this awkward spot where he's like, this is the information I got from the storyteller. Why is this? I don't understand how this is wrong. Why is this conflicting with everything? Why did everyone suddenly pile on me? Why did everything go wrong? And obviously, he's having a bit of a rough time because I messed up the storyteller information. And look, it's an innocent mistake. As you can see from my point of view, my best recollection was that Justin did in fact vote on the first day. My best recollection, is only so good. And we have a specific utility to be able to help me track the nominations and votes. Now, what was I supposed to do? I could have potentially avoided this problem if I had used a Wakes message to message Justin and confirm did he vote. Which in this scenario, where there's a bug in the client and I don't have that option, this is what I should have done. Now there's a few other things in play here. This is something that exists in a real grimoire, the did you vote today, did you nominate today card. And you can see all the cards here along in this row. That one is missing because it's not needed, because there's a utility in the client that's supposed to tell you, did somebody nominate, did somebody vote today? Which is really awkward for me when that utility doesn't show up and it becomes a problem. I now just remember why my screenshot is slightly incorrect. Because and I have a hunch that this might be why I lost all the voting information, possibly. Seems silly. But after Josh nominated himself, I reset the vote instead of accidentally clicking mark, and then that's why we have Scott nominating Josh. And look, if that's the case, that's just a simple misclick, and then I lose all of the votes, the counted votes, which is, awkward. And look, it's, again, super innocent mistake. This is a total thing that could happen, and this is kind of the solution. And the solution, playing it in real life, is a lot more elegant because you're kind of expected to just know. As the storyteller, you're supposed to know all the minions nominating. You're supposed to know if the demon votes or not, and that's not the easiest thing to track. One of the things that I do while I am taking the vote, I am holding the grimoire with me, and I have the minion nominated and the demon voted token in the center. And I will apply it accordingly. Do I need to remember? Yes, I caught the demon voting. Cool, I'll do this after the vote. Cool, did this happen? Yeah. So I only need to remember long enough for the end of the vote immediately, and then I put it into the reminder tokens, and then it's recorded there for me later. On this, I was relying on a utility that I thought would be there, and I was caught unawares, and I found that it wasn't there. But again, like I took the screenshot before, to my best recollection, Justin had voted, and that was how I played it. When instead I could have confirmed to avoid a problem happening and be sure. But the other thing is that players aren't always going to, be super confident and know exactly and be like, well, did I vote? I don't know. And so there is steps that you can take to avoid a problem. And unfortunately, because I did not take any steps to avoid a problem, we have a problem. And Scott's stuck in having a shit game. Scott gets executed. He loses the game for his team as the good twin because I gave him the wrong information. And that was the thing that just instantly convinced everyone to execute him instead. Amelia literally listed out the entire evil team correctly and then was convinced enough to vote onto him to execute him instead and lose the game based on this exchange, which is really brutal. I did apologize at the end of the game. I'm like, look, this is kind of on me. This is exactly what happened. I was pretty confident in the choices that I had made, but obviously it was really rough for Scott in particular. And that can happen sometimes. Like I said, it's an innocent mistake. It can happen. It happens to me. I've been doing this for 7 years now or something. It can happen to first-time storytellers. And the idea, and especially in this case, is that you recognize that a mistake has been made, and then you try and figure out, okay, well, what should I do next time if this happens? Because some things are super innocent, and you don't have a lot of control over how things play out, how people encounter the puzzle, or what people tunnel in on really hard. And it can be difficult to do something about that. And one of the other things that I said in the post-game discussion with them was basically when Scott said his information and the town goes, hey, that's not possible in the Vortox world that we're really confident that it is, you have to be lying. I can't then go, which at that exact time I had realized that a mistake was made, go, oh, I've made a mistake, because that doesn't actually work the way that you think it does. Everyone's tunneling in on this thing, and I go, ooh, actually, no, I've made a mistake, but I can't specifically say what it is. I can't say I've accidentally given the flower girl the wrong information. That just confirms to the flower girl, confirms that I'm now vouching for them and something has gone wrong. I can't really do that. So it's a bit tough for me to solve this thing, and I'm also watching the game end in real time. I'm watching the good twin get executed. There's votes on him, and I'm like, I just kind of let the game end and then apologize in this scenario. It's unfortunate, which sucks a little bit. It means that Scott is trapped in the hell dimension and gets to have a bad time. But me intervening and going, oh no, I've made a mistake about this one specific thing, and are the players going to backpedal? Are they going to go, oh, actually, okay, maybe his info was just messed up. Maybe Keith is a dumbie. Possible. Let's go back to killing Justin, actually. And so, it's hard to know. Sometimes you just have to interact with an empathy for the players, and sometimes, things can suck for them, and do your best to try and solve the problem. Unfortunately, there wasn't much that I could do to solve the problem, because I realized it too late, and was kind of stuck watching the game fall apart. And that happens. Sometimes it's best to go, all right, that was the game. Sorry, it sucked. I'm going to try and do better next time. This is exactly what I could have done. I did actually went and talked to a few of the players afterwards. And Weedy, who is our normal storyteller when we do a Monday night, he was like, you should have asked, did somebody vote? I'm like, I know I can do that. I just was pretty confident that I was correct. And he was like, not only could you have asked the demon if he voted, you could have asked the evil twin if they voted, because the evil twin is trying to bluff as the flower girl. They should be tracking who voted as well, and they know who the demon is. So all they have to do is track that one guy if he voted or not, which is interesting. Right, so I also potentially had an ally that could have helped me in that scenario, and so sometimes there is ways to solve a game that you may not have thought of. Sometimes my arrogance can lead to my downfall, and it's good to ask for help, and it's good to seek additional tools when it comes to solving problems. And so hopefully this gives you an idea about maybe some of the options that you have, some of the things that you should be considering when running a game, especially if it's leaning to the complex side. or you've put some characters in play that, you know, take a lot of mental load from you. Like, for example, I was caught behind on the Savant, and so I was being more mindful of that than potentially the voting sequence. Maybe I would have caught it better if I wasn't, you know, looking at my other tab writing out some Savant information. Maybe it would have been better if I was at full power and I, you know, had a nap that day and I wasn't really sleepy because it's past my bedtime. Maybe all of these things are true. And that's the thing. I go, okay, yep, I fucked that up. I'm going to learn for next time. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to be using the votes card if I'm ever unsure. And then hopefully we won't have this same problem again. And that's kind of what I recommend for you as well. Now, I do a lot of content on this channel about running games of Clocktower. We play a lot of games on Clocktower, and here we, you know, upload 3 days a week of Clocktower stuff. I upload every day because we have a bunch of other stuff as well. So on the screen, I'm actually going to have a bunch of cards that you can check out for other things that we do. There is the whole Clocktower playlist where you can come and check out all the stuff that we do with that. But also, I'll have another random different video up on there because there's a whole bunch of other cool stuff that's worth exploring the channel as well. And as always, the subscribe button. Clicking the subscribe button tells me that I should be doing more of the content that you like in particular. And I get to see which video is getting the subscribers. So this one was really helpful. If you click the button, I'm going to know to make more stuff like this, and that will potentially help you as a budding storyteller be hopefully better than me. I still make mistakes, and I've been doing this a while, and so maybe you're the next greatest storyteller, and getting advice from all the different places you can is only going to help. So hopefully I'll see you in the next video.